So like the same gun which you give an officer, he will use it to protect you. The same gun in the hands of a terrorist, he will use it to kill you.
Correct. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Untitled Show. So fun fact, why did we call this show the Untitled Show? It's such a weird name. So the reason is that Glenn and myself were breaking our heads upon what should we call the show, and we couldn't get a name. So we called the show the Untitled Show.
Weird flex, but okay. Anyways, so thank you for, I hope all of you guys are doing well. Thank you for showing us support for our first video. Do continue to show us your support for the second video and our future endeavors as well.
Yeah, so the last time, the first episode, the topic that we selected was human behavior. So, and we spoke about the awkward situations that happen with people and how they deal with it, and we came up with simple solutions of keeping it simple. If you haven't checked the video, go check it out. And the topic that we're going to talk today about is in this chit. It's an aspect about human behavior which we will talk about in the next episode as well. So 3 episodes of human behavior, and then we move on to another different topic. Alright, so we'll pick up the chit and whatever comes up, we're going to speak about it. Glenn.
आराम से यार तोड़ देगा.
Why do we need an escape? Alright, so the this topic also was I remember this topic was told by you. You suggested this topic. So what was in your head that you came up with this topic about escape? What did you mean by escape?
Escape. Okay, so I feel like in a broad manner, if you want to try to categorize this, anything that makes you takes your senses away from reality.
Okay.
We all feel like it's too chaotic, too bustling. So you need an escape or a break away from this thing. But sometimes what happens is we get so inclined to this break away that we cannot live without it.
Alright, fine. Okay, I get what you're saying. So then let's start. We'll start our question, answers and discussing. I know why I did that, but okay.
I'm noob.
So Glenn, so you came up with this topic.
Yeah.
So what went through your mind that you thought of such a topic that we would speak about escapism?
I don't know, I just feel like nowadays there are so many people who are under a lot of stress and they are very frustrated in life, and they're always looking for a means to escape from their reality or even their problems at times. So I feel like this is one topic on which we could elaborate further. That's my understanding.
Alright, fine. So do you think it's a bad thing or it's a good thing? And if it is a bad thing, in what context is escapism negative?
See, I don't think it has to be a bad thing. If anything is done in proper proportions, even escapism, it can be a good thing. Even I like to read literature, books a lot, and I like to see movies. So that's a good form. Even that is escapism. You're tired, you come one day, you sit, you watch a movie, it's good. But when that starts taking over your life, you are you are trying to deny all the problems, and you are just imagine you get addicted to watching a lot of Netflix. You just binge every day. Yeah. And your other responsibilities, they go for a toss.
Exactly.
So you're trying to come up with different ways to escape from your problems.
So that's my thing also, okay, even me, if I have a Netflix or an Amazon, I there are these friends of mine, who tell me that, watch this, watch that. But I always tell them, that I won't be able to watch fiction.
Fiction.
Yeah, people like fiction and all, and it's good, it's entertaining, it's really fun. But it eventually, it sometimes you don't realize it. Maybe it doesn't happen with everyone, but at least with me, sometimes, there is this one, I think everyone's guilty of it, that, they just start thinking, aisa hone wala. And, they go into that thought, so just to avoid that thought, I watch fiction minimal. I don't indulge into fiction a lot. So that's what you were talking about, right? If you get addicted to something.
Yeah,
like
means it starts taking over your life and you have no control.
Okay.
Like imagine like your mind wants you to stop, but you cannot stop.
Okay.
I think that's a point where you like really need to look at yourself. Like, what's the problem here? Like, why can't I get over this? Because even I like to see Netflix and all. I like to see a lot of movies because that helps me think, come up with stories, scenarios.
Yeah, and you're a writer.
Of course, I'm a writer.
Yeah. All right.
So that's that. So this actually brings me to my first question. So, what do you think are the main sources of escapism in today's world?
Dude, I think social media is the biggest escape, because even if you speak about Netflix and Amazon, that is also, I mean, it's on the phone only and on the TV or whatever. So I think social media is the biggest form of escapism. But it can be classified also. Sometimes social media is not that bad.
Yeah.
What we are doing right now is social media. But sometimes when you have things to do, or you got something to deal with, or maybe you're going through a tough time, but rather than solving that, you'll put all your head into something that is not productive.
Exactly.
It happens. I mean, people will relate to it, even you might. But so the thing is, it's not bad. Social media is not bad. I love it because it's very creative. But there's a lot of bullshit also.
Exactly. Yeah,
and people don't understand what to see and what not to see.
Yeah, that regulation or that filter, like you don't get it right.
Yeah, so I think social media is the biggest deal, but also social media is good. It's very good. But good. Most of the people find their escape also in social media.
Yeah, that's right. That's so hard.
So, do you think escapism, I mean, your main topic, do you think that it's becoming an addiction for people? Addiction in the sense, like, I'll give you a scenario. Like, if someone has, a life decision or a task to do, or, just to get something done, but that person is not really sure of it, that, karna hai. So you'll just avoid it rather than facing it. That shit, I got to deal with this kind of a scene. And that person doesn't deal with it.
Like social media becomes a means for procrastination, basically. Like he goes on delaying that thing.
Exactly. And then when the time comes, he's like, shit, I'm helpless. What to do?
It's like that kind. For a project he had a lot of time, but then he didn't know how to get around it.
So not just a project. I mean, like in any situation, any maybe a life decision or something like that.
Yeah, I think it has, because I feel like earlier we didn't have all of this technology at our hands. Like it wasn't available like at the touch of a button and all of that. So right now, while this gives us like means to do a lot of things, to connect with a lot of people, it also gives us the means to escape from it. So it's like there's the good and the bad. So it depends. Like it's a tool. So like the same gun which you give an officer, he will use it to protect you. The same gun in the hands of a terrorist, he will use it to kill you.
Correct.
So I think this is basically that itself. So it's
you got another tweet.
I like that. So I think that's why it's becoming an addiction, because people don't know how to handle their problems. And rather than sitting and trying to face it and coming up with a plan, even though it may take time, it may take stress, like people may not like you, like all of that, they would rather choose an escape to run away from it, which is why I feel it's becoming an addiction slowly and slowly.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, you and me also must be guilty at this, that I'm not talking about you, but me, of course, that, sometimes you just get glued to it.
Yeah, it does happen.
You just get glued to, not just your phone. When you know you have something to do, you just behave lazy, or you just don't want to do that. And then when the time comes, it's like boom, now I'm helpless, now I can't do anything. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
And then I'm not speaking about me, but with some people it does happen where this becomes a habit.
Okay.
Like, you know, of course, addiction, but, you know, it becomes a habit when they realize it, "Arey, shit, this shouldn't happen again." But then if they get another problem in their face, it's the same thing, you know.
Yeah, like they can't control their minds anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So that becomes like very bad.
So if you're talking about, you know, such kind of a situation, then like what do you think should be the advice to someone like that, who, you know, is got into the habit of just escaping and not facing it?
See, I don't think there is like a straight solution to anything. So what the first thing I believe everybody should do is introspect. Like it may to some people lead to like existential crisis and all of that, but that's all right. But you do need to take time and introspect. Like even if it's at night or something, like you need to keep things away, like your phone or everything, and like ask yourself, right? Like what am I doing? Like what do I have to? Maybe not like what do I have to do in life. You don't need to know the answer, or like even in this, like you were saying in a situation, like I need to get something done. But I just laze away. So like you need to figure it out. Like why am I actually trying to avoid it? Like is there something that I do not like in that? And what can I do about it? So and analyze all of that.
What I agree to what you're saying, and also, you know, when you're saying that, you know, there comes this time where you got to keep your thing aside. There's this one, I don't remember, but there's this one influencer only, I've forgotten his name. So he had once in his podcast or something, he had mentioned that, you know, in the nights between like 12 to 3, your mind is very versatile. Like your mind becomes very open, and if someone asks you a question, you'll be very frankly and you'll talk. You know, like most of the conversations, deep conversations, will hit or get struck in the night only. Like during the day when you're busy and all of that, you won't have such deep conversations. But as it becomes, you know, the dark, so then, you know, those kind of conversations happen. And that's why your mind should be very focused at that time and not think anything stupid, or, you know, rather be productive or go to sleep. That's what I
like
feel.
I agree with the whole 12 to 3 time. Like your brain is like it's running at like 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, because you have nothing to do, and, you know, thoughts are just rushing into your head.
So yeah, like you should try and be productive, but like I again think it all comes with knowing yourself.
Right.
If you know where your flaws are, where your drawbacks are, and what you can do to handle them, then I think it should be good. It all starts with that.
So there was this one thing with me, okay, when you spoke about knowing yourself. So there was this, you know, something that I was dealing with, and, you know, I self-realized it, you know, that shit, I think I'm not feeling very good.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you spoke about realizing, I mean, knowing yourself, when I see other people, they get a little, I mean, of course, it's not their fault, but they get a little panicky when something's happening with them. They don't understand what is happening with them, and, you know, they get panicky about the specific situation, whatever is happening with them. So what do you think? What should a person like that do?
Like panicky, like you are
panicking in the sense that तेरे को मालूम ही नहीं है तेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है, but it's happening with you. You're feeling it, but you don't know what is happening with you. Then
okay, it's like that weird sinking feeling.
Yeah.
But you don't know where it is from.
Exactly. No doubt, it's just a phase.
Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. But of course, it's a phase. It's obviously going to pass someday, but you don't know what to do in that moment. So then, what do you tell that person? How to deal with that situation and find a positive escape rather than avoiding it and just close your eyes to it.
So like I like that thing, the positive escape. So I think a person should do that. Like he should try and make a list of doing all the things that make him happy. Like imagine playing football or anything like that. Like these are productive pursuits too. Like they keep you physically fit, as well as it's a good escape and it keeps you fresh and you're like mentally more alert. So you have like a bigger thing on your brain, like a control. So I think one should do that, like either if it's reading books or whether it is playing football or any other sport. I feel one should look for such positive escapes. Like I wouldn't even call that an escape. I would call them positive habits.
That will be like an investment to yourself.
Yeah, like that's what.
Moreover, I mean, I'm guilty of it, but I like get bored of reading. But I also know that, you know, it is good. But I get bored of it, so I read, but then there are some days I don't read. I have on and off good habits.
It's fine. I think today's generation do not like to read. I think
you know, when we were speaking about social media, I think social media has made even me like most of us, we have lost patience.
Yeah, it's like decreased our attention span.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about us. Like, our parents, when, the phone just came.
Okay.
And we felt that the phone just came when we were growing up.
Okay.
And when it came when we were in school and maybe we got it that time, our parents always complained to us about no being on the phone and all of that.
Okay.
But I think things are different now. I mean, you see them also, they are also on their phones.
Yeah, I think that's a weird.
Yeah, so
like,
that it happens unintentionally. But that's what, when you spoke about self-reflecting, that is where that comes into play.
Yeah, I think we mostly try and escape because we do not want to self-introspect.
Correct.
Yeah, because like you are sometimes scared at what you may find. So I think you need to remove that fear from you because like we all have flaws. Like I'm so sure you have, I have
hundreds
everybody. Yeah, and deep flaws, like not even on the surface, deep flaws.
Correct.
But I think you just need to accept them after one point. Like,
Correct.
Like once you use it as a shield, like nobody can use that against you.
Correct.
That's it. Okay, so this brings me to another question. Like, do you think we are slowly forgetting the difference between the real world and the virtual world? Like reality and virtual reality. Like, are the lines fading slowly?
So, are you talking specifically about social media?
Yeah, like social media is like a big aspect of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I feel that, when it comes to the social media, there are a certain kind of people, or a lot of people, it's not about getting jealous when you're seeing someone else happy. It's not that. When you spoke about introspecting, if you're not in a bad state, if you're not in a good state mentally, you look at another person and you'll not find a solution. You'll get even more depressed.
Yeah.
That's because of social media. Because you're seeing someone who's just happy, but that is just a picture on whatever Instagram or whatever.
Like it's very filtered. Like
Yeah.
it's not the raw thing.
Yeah. So what was your question?
Like the
Second time I'm forgetting your question.
It kind of happens. Like, do you think like there's like the lines between reality and virtual reality are
Correct.
slowly fading?
Yeah, it is definitely, because people it's all about it's all for the gram.
Okay, that's all for the gram.
Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, people they don't realize that putting up. Everyone, see, it's common sense. No one will put up on Instagram or anywhere on Facebook or whatever that shit, I'm sad. There are some people who do that also, which is a little weird, but it's not weird or whatever. They put they obviously won't put up that things about themselves which are depressing. They're obviously going to put things which are happy.
Okay.
And then a person who's not in a good state of mind sees that and he feels depressed or she feels depressed. Like, what the shit? I mean, everything, all the bad things happen with me. You get into that zone.
Okay.
And you don't realize shit. I mean, that their life is different. My life is different. There's a phase now with me. I need to deal with it realistically.
Okay.
Not keeping, the whatever virtual reality or whatever in your head. And you won't be able to deal with the problem if you depend on other people's happiness.
Okay. That's
Like there's this one saying, I think Junjunwala, who's that shy market guy, Rakesh Junjunwala, I think. So he says that you never become successful on other people's knowledge.
Wow.
So if you just turn that and put it on, take it on this topic, you will obviously not become happy looking at other people. Obviously, you got to self-introspect. You got to realize what is good for you, bad for you, what will work for you, what will not work for you. And according to that, knowing what are those things like, knowing your goods and the bads.
Yeah.
What
like
is that? SWOT analysis.
Oh, the SWOT analysis.
Yeah. So if you do that, you know yourself. You know if you're mentally not in peace. I mean, if you self-introspect, things will be fine. If you're going to depend on people who you're seeing just for 30 seconds, then it's a deal, dude.
Like a 30-second smile may not last the entire day.
Exactly. But that is what you're seeing for 24 hours.
Yeah, and that's playing in your head for 24 hours.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that is how it is. So, do you think that, escapism is greater today than ever?
I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel that today our life has become so chaotic. Like everything is
Like everyone's running.
Yeah, like everyone's running and everybody has to be at 10 places
Mm-hmm.
at the same time.
Correct.
Like even I'm guilty of doing that. Like
Correct.
I would
of course I would. I'm seeing you. By the way, he has 3 jobs and he's also doing this. मुझे marketing है.
Thanks man. अच्छा है. Freelancing के लिए चाहिए तो contact कर लो. But that's actually there. Like sorry, can you like repeat the question? I got caught up in the moment.
Okay, fine. So my question was, do you think that escapism is greater today than ever?
Yeah, I feel
Greater today in the sense like if the good and the bad, both the aspects.
See, what I feel is like our ancestors or like even our parents or their generation, they never had so many means to have an escapism.
Correct.
Like right now we have a phone. Like any young guy will be with his phone, or they will have anything like a laptop or some digital media or anything. So we've got used to that quick escapism. Like any problem hits us, we take our phone
and we sit.
Yeah, like if anything happens
Exactly, we
to
don't
us,
have no patience.
yeah, we have zero patience. That's there. So I think now,
But in this case also, I really look up to the people who bloody hell have patience, man.
yeah,
Anyway,
that's
I'm sorry, I can't continue.
no, it's fine. So like I feel like as a generation we have gotten used to this so much that we do not have patience, and this form of escapism is becoming an addiction for us. Like since we were young, we have got so tuned into this that now it's difficult to break away from that habit.
Correct. So, so if you're talking that, if you're saying that it's greater today than ever, like 10 years down the line, what do you think? How are people going to react to situations which are really serious and maybe a part of their life depends on that, and they're not in a good state of acknowledging that situation, and they find an escape? How do you see the situation maybe 10 years down the line?
Is going to be there. So you cannot deny that because it's not all bad.
Correct.
Like it's good, but it's going to be there. So what I feel down the line is, I think it's going to increase because people do not know how to regulate their minds and like is this thing. I'm sorry if it's like really harsh.
No.
But we've lost that focus kind of thing. So I feel it's going to be bad, and like we'll be needing a lot of rehab centers too.
Oh my god.
I actually feel that after one.
What do you mean? What kind of rehab center?
Rehabilitation, just like that. Like
okay.
You're depressed, like depression rate is increasing and all of that. So I feel we'll need a lot of that. And but it's totally fine, you know. See, like even this thing, like when I say rehabilitation center or anything, people have this bad thing in mind. Like my God, there's something really wrong with him. But sometimes you just need help from
Yeah,
somebody
dude, I'm
else.
telling you, I don't deny the fact that, there was this one time where I just wanted to go and meet a bloody counselor.
Exactly.
And I'm fine with that, saying it and people knowing it. It's not a big deal. But that is what, they acknowledging it and knowing that, this is the time that I need it. And it's fine.
Yeah.
You need it.
Yeah. So if you do not acknowledge it at that time, you continue to prolong it. I feel that is where it becomes an addiction.
Correct.
And then after one point, you are like, I can't do anything now. Like, what do I do? And I think even like our societal stigma, or maybe it's just our culture, like we don't talk openly about depression. I seen like some people tackle this in a very wrong way. Like if you're depressed, they're like, no, just about your thoughts, you'll get over this.
Hey, dude, there's this one video. Hey, I'm plugging this in. There's this one video from AIB about depression. Go check it out. If you're wanting to see it.
No, yeah.
But check it out. AIB, All India.
I like that. But I think some people like get too aggressive. They're like, अरे कुछ नहीं, problem नहीं है तेरे साथ, ऐसा होएगा, वैसा होएगा, ये कर, वो कर. Like sometimes you need to let that person open up. Like sometimes they just need to like hold you and cry or speak to you. That's it.
That's a very good feeling actually for the person who's giving the hug and taking the hug.
Yeah. Crying is a good thing. I do not know why we since we were young, we have been told like crying.
There's this phrase. You're a good boy, no? Why are you crying?
Yeah.
वो मैं बड़े होके समझा ये सब पागल हो गए क्या बोल रहे हैं मेरे को?
Like and even I don't I never understood that thing like boys don't cry. I'm like,
Yeah, that is fine.
Like,
I mean, people understand all boys
Yeah.
cry, dude. I mean, that's fine. That is different. But the relation between you're a good boy, how can you cry?
Yeah. So like later on you see
That
how
means
there's a bad.
so then if just to be good with, I'm not gonna cry. That's stupid. Anyway, I mean, I think things are changing that way also. If there's good, there's bad.
Yeah, like there's good and there's bad.
Yeah,
but-
so it's changing.
Yeah, I think like the more we learn to be open, the more the chances of this addiction is there to decrease. But unless and until we are open about it, I think this addiction is just going to increase more and more. And it's like especially rampant with the young people.
Correct.
I mean, like I sound very hypocritical saying young people, but that's just the way it is.
What do you think about? I mean, what is your escape, if I may ask?
My escape would be like a good book. Like
Okay.
I like biographies. Like even in books, I don't prefer fiction as much as I prefer like stories about real people. Like
Correct.
I've read Elon Musk biography at thrice thrice.
Okay.
And even like the Phil Knight, he was like the guy who started Nike. So I like reading this thing.
Okay.
Okay, so that answers.
Yeah, it does. So I'll tell you about mine. I'm more of a visual person. I like not even looking at interviews, but I like listening.
Okay.
So in the nights, if I didn't have a good day, I'll put my earphones and plug in my earphones and I'll listen to an interview or a podcast about something not necessarily motivational, but just listening to someone else, because there's a lot you can learn from another person.
Oh yeah.
Be it a successful or not a successful, there are things to learn from both.
Exactly.
So that is my escape. Yeah.
Yeah, escape. I like the fact that we're discussing this escape thing.
Yeah,
So that people realize that it's not bad to have an
It's
escape.
not bad.
It's not bad.
But it's the bad thing is avoiding it.
Yeah. You need to regulate it. Like you need to be in control of it.
Correct.
It's like a fire. As long as you control it, it's good. It provides warmth. But when it's out of control, it can burn the forest down.
All right. Australia में bushfire हो रहा था. It just came to our mind.
Too late. Anyways.
I mean, what do you make of? I think this talk went really long, dude. 19 plus something, I don't know. My God, it's very long. Okay.
Nice.
I'm sorry for such a long conversation. If you're bored listening to us, I'm really sorry. But
if you all are still listening to us with interest, then we're really happy.
yeah. So what did you make out of this conversation?
I don't know. I actually liked this conversation. Like we went a lot in depth. I think we got carried away with the flow, which was a good thing.
So
But we had like both perspectives. Like I like there are some people who would only say like no, escapism is bad or like no, like it's required. But we touched on topics which took both these sides into consideration.
So for me, I feel personally, this is my opinion. I think nothing is just good or just bad.
Okay.
It can't be.
That's true.
Everything has its own downfalls and everything has its own positive side of it. So that is what, if people want to escape, if something is toxic, cut it out and put your head into something that is productive.
Yeah, and I think it's the thing, like you need to have the good and the bad.
Correct.
With any conversation, like you need to figure out both these parts.
Correct. So we had a good conversation.
We did.
Till then, when are we shooting next? And our backdrop changed.
I know.
Because of some reasons.
Circumstances.
Yeah.
Again, problems of a modern YouTuber.
So Glenn, we had a good discussion and we had a good perspective on escapism and why do people escape and the negatives and the positives, both the aspects of it. What do you feel?
I feel it was like a good comprehensive discussion and I think we dived into the matter pretty well. So I hope people get to it and relate to it better.
Yeah. So folks, I hope you liked the show and thank you for watching if you're still watching. And also, like last time, a big shout out to my friend Flavio who's behind the camera. And I also spoke about his, the last episode I also mentioned about his YouTube channel which he's handling with his friends. I won't be mentioning it, go check it out. And until next time, Hastala Vista.